Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to a weekend review, reviewing a big weekend of Premier League and Championship action. Let's get straight into it with Saturday's Premier League action, starting off with the lunchtime game. Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1 at the Emirates. And yeah, a big win for Arsenal with Spurs dropping points too. Tavares and Saka gave Arsenal a 2-0 lead in the first half an hour. Ronaldo pulled one straight back though in the 34th minute. Great to see him score after the horrible week he's been through. But Bruno Fernandes in the 57th minute got a penalty which he duly missed. I mean, I don't know why Ronaldo didn't take it. It just made zero sense, and that really changed the complexion of the game, because in the 70th minute Xhaka got the equaliser, got the winner, and made it 3-1 to Arsenal. And Arsenal, yeah, big win for them. United pretty much walks them out of UCL contention, but Arsenal, yeah, big win for them and moves them clear in the race for the top four. Norwich 0, Newcastle 3 was the score at Carrow Road on Saturday in the Premier League. And yeah, this was a really disappointing result for Norwich. Goals from Joe Linton over a brace in the first half and Guimaraes in the second half gave Newcastle the win. And yeah, great job that Eddie Howe's done. It just continues, doesn't it? Yeah, really brilliant performance from them, and they'll be absolutely delighted. Moving into the top half now, I think, and that's just so impressive. For Norwich, though, done a disappointing performance, they're all but down now. Moving on then to Manchester City 5, Watford 1 at the Etihad. Jesus with 2 goals in the first 20 minutes kind of killed the game already. Watford did pull one back through Kamara in the 28th minute, but goals from Rodri and another 2 from Jesus after half time sealed the win for City. And yeah, really pleased to see Jesus do so well. 4 goals, incredible performance from him. And for City, yeah, it just went the way you kind of expected it to go. Total domination against a poor team. And Watford, yeah, they're all but down now, aren't they, really? Moving on then to Leicester 0, Aston Villa 0 at the King Power Stadium. And yeah, there's not a lot to say about this game, really. I thought Aston Villa played relatively well here and probably the better side. But, you know, in the end, there wasn't much between it. Really, they had 5 shots. Leicester and Aston Villa had 11. Villa also had 1 more shot on target, but they only had 3. So yeah, not a lot to choose between the two sides. And in the end, you probably say a draw was a fair result. And yeah, it's a bit of a disappointing game for all teams really all round. Moving on then to Brentford 0, Tottenham 0 at the Brentford Community Stadium. And yeah, in this game, I would say Spurs were bloody fortunate to come away with points. Not a shot on goal, and Brentford with 15 attempts compared to Spurs' 9. And yeah, this is a really disappointing from Tottenham. They needed to get a result here with Arsenal winning against Manchester United, and they just didn't do so. And that's really, really disappointing for them. They'll be gutted with that, and after getting themselves in a strong position, they now got to play catch up once again. Moving on then to Chelsea, as they defeated West Ham 1-0 in the last game of history on Sunday. Yeah, Craig Dawson in the 86th minute got sent off, and that's where it already kicked off. Jorginho missed a penalty in the 87th minute, but Pulisic in the 90th minute spared his blushes and gave Chelsea the win. And yeah, after the loss last time out, but it's a good win for Chelsea. And you know, they're still pretty secure in third. Alleviates any worries of Arsenal top and catching them, which I doubt will happen. But for West Ham, that's a big blow in their rattle to get into Europe, without obviously presuming they didn't win the Europa League. Moving on then to a crucial game down at the foot of the Premier League. Burnley 1, Wolves 0 at Turf Moor. Matty Vydra with the only goal of the game in the 62nd minute. And yeah, how crucial could that goal be for Burnley? With the Everton result, it lifts them out of the relegation zone, which is just absolutely crucial. And yeah, they're looking in a strong position now, you'd say, Burnley, aren't they? Playing really well ever since Dyche has gone. Maybe for all the criticism they got, it was the right decision. But for Wolves, though, that's really disappointing in their European charge. Moving on then to Brighton 2, Southampton 2 at the Amex. Welbeck in the 2nd minute and Saluso own goal just before half time gave Brighton a 2-0 lead. But Ward-Prowse just even closer to half time in the 45 plus 4th minute. Scored a beautiful free kick. How many times have you said that about Ward-Prowse? Giving Southampton hope. And in the 54th minute, he scored again to give Southampton a point. And yeah, I mean, I think Southampton will be relatively happy with that. Maybe they could have even deserved a point win. But yeah, good result for both teams, really. Moving on then to Liverpool 2, Everton 0 at Anfield. Andy Robertson in the 62nd minute and Divock Origi in the 85th minute with the 2 goals for Liverpool. Liverpool had to wait, but eventually their time came. And you know, they picked up the victory. The dominant team, as you'd expect, really. 83% possession compared to Everton 17, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't think Everton were too bad. They did have some chances, but in the end it just wasn't really enough, was it? But Liverpool, they go marching on. Everton in serious trouble with Burnley's fall. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0 was the score in the Premier League on Monday. And yeah, this is a game which Crystal Palace I think will be disappointed not to win. 17 shots, 7 on target compared to 9 and 2 for Leeds. Had more possession as well. But for Palace, just a disappointing game where they couldn't quite find a breakthrough. And they'll want to end the season on the high, so they'll be disappointed. But for Leeds, solid point away from home, kept it tight and got the point. And yeah, they're just still clear of the relegation zone, which is obviously great for them. Moving on then to the Championship this weekend, and Barnsley's fate was sealed with a loss at Huddersfield on Friday night. Huddersfield also secured their playoff fate, but Barnsley were relegated to League One with a 2-1 defeat. And yeah, they went 2-0 down pretty quickly through Jordan Rose and Toffolo in the first half. Callum Styles did score a nice goal to give Barnsley a lifeline in the 97th minute, but it wasn't enough, and Barnsley were relegated. And in the end, you probably say Huddersfield deserved the win. The best team securing their playoff place. They've had a great season. For Barnsley after last season, just so disappointing. Moving on then to Luton 1, Blackpool 1 at Kenilworth Road. Elijah Adebayo in the second minute gave Luton a lead before a Gary Medine penalty in the 55th minute levels things up for Blackpool. And yeah, in the end, I think Luton and Blackpool, I think they were relatively even matched. I'd say a draw was probably the fair result. Not a lot to pick between the two sides. And Luton will be disappointed. They couldn't officially get their playoff case confirmed, but it is all but confirmed. Really, for Blackpool, it's a good result away from home. It's the top team. Moving on then to Swansea 1, Middlesbrough 1 at the Liberty Stadium. McCree gave Burley in the 46th minute, but that was cancelled out 2 minutes later through Obafemi. And in the end, you'd probably say if any team was going to go on and get the winner, it was probably Swansea. But in the end, I'd say a draw was probably the fair result. But for Borough, that's really disappointing. 5 without a win now, just when they didn't need it. And that game in hand this week is absolutely pivotal for them if they want any chance of really getting into the playoff battle now. Moving on then to Sheffield United, as they picked up a crucial win in their charge against the playoffs against Cardiff. Ndidi was the only goal of the game in the 47th minute. And on the whole, I'd say Sheffield United deserving of the victory, and that's exactly what they got. And after a bit of a sticky patch for them recently, that's a big win for them, and will lead them to feel much more confident in their place in just getting in the playoffs this year, which is exactly what they need. And once you get there, you've always got a chance, don't you? So that's a big win for Sheffield United. For Cardiff, though, they'd be disappointed with this, really, wouldn't they? Moving on then to West Brom 0, Coventry 0 at the Hawthorns, and not a game between two sides whose season has kind of petered out in recent weeks. Maybe both are hoping to go to playoff charges, but in the end it hasn't really worked out. Not a lot to pick between the two sides at all, really. And Coventry being around about 10th place, their playoff charge has all but gone now. And West Brom in 61 points in 13th place. Their charge is officially gone. Moving on then to QPR, and they were defeated 1-0 away at Stoke. A game that officially ended QPR's bid against the pass. The only goal came in the first half stoppage time through Brown, and in the end, you'd probably say Stoke deserved the win. And Stoke ending the season relatively strongly, so they'll be pleased with that. But for QPR now, such a disappointing last few months of the season, and they just want the season to end now. You probably get the feeling that this will be Mark Warburton's last few games in charge of QPR. Moving on then to Peterborough 0, Nottingham Forest 1 at the London Stadium. Sam Surridge was the only goal of the game in the 45th minute, and it was a goal that ultimately sent Peterborough down to League One. And in the end, Peterborough gave it a go in the second half, but they just couldn't get the equaliser. And Peterborough relegated. I mean, it's a shame, but they have picked up recently. I think the decision to stick with Darren Ferguson as they did kind of cost them, but positive signs there for under Grant McCann next season. For Forest, a good win, and the automatic race isn't over yet. Moving on then to Hull 3, Reading 0 at the KCOM Stadium. Keane, Lewis Potter, Jones and Keane, Lewis Potter again in second half stoppage time, all of the goals for Hull. And for Reading, it's kind of a bittersweet feeling because they were absolutely battered here, played really, really poorly. Did have some chances, but in the end played poorly and didn't get the result they wanted. But they stayed up, so they'll be pleased, I think, still. But for Hull, it's a good win. It's a good win for them, and they'll work at the end of the season strongly. Moving on then to Derby 1, Bristol City 3 away win for Bristol City, and that's a good result for them. Vyman and Semenyo gave them a 2-0 lead at the break before Forsyth pulled one back, but close in the 79th minute gave Bristol City the winner. And Bristol City in 17th in the table. looking to end the season out strongly, and that's what they're doing. I'm beating them for, but for Derby, I just hope they don't limp across the line, which kind of does seem what they're doing at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, really. But moving on then to a big goal for Bournemouth late on in their second best first clash against Fulham. Fulham obviously promoted, but they still went ahead through Mitrovic in the 56th minute. Dominic Solanke in the 98th minute getting a crucial goal to bring Bournemouth level. That would have brought Forest within 4 points of them on the same amount of games played. So Bournemouth aren't across the line yet. So this was a big point for them. For Fulham, they'll be disappointed, but they just want to get the league tied up as soon as possible. So not giving them the best opportunity to do that. But Bournemouth, I think they'll be relatively pleased. Keeps them still safe. Moving on then to Birmingham 2, Millwall 2 at St Andrews. Bacuna with a goal in the 47th minute gave Birmingham the lead before Ollie Burke equalised in the 68th minute. Lyle Taylor then gave Birmingham the lead with 10 minutes to go from the spot, but a late equaliser for Benny Kafobe gave Millwall the goal. And in the end, I think Millwall will be think they deserve the point at least. So it's a good point for Millwall. But in a game like this, where they were so close to the post, you do feel like it's a game they had to win. But they're still in contention for it. Preston 1, Blackburn 4 was the score at Deepdale on Monday in the Championship. Gallagher and Buckley gave Blackburn 2 early goals in the lead. Brown pulled one back, but goals from Linehan and Travers sealed the win for Blackburn, and Blackburn were just really clinical here. And that result has definitely got them back in the mix to get into the playoffs, just 3 points behind. And with teams slipping up recently, could they do it? There's a chance. As for Preston, this was really disappointing. They want to end the season strongly, but Blackburn totally reunited. Could the playoff charge be back on? Anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and thoughts, comments down below. Follow us in the description for daily football news and subscribe to my channel on Instagram. I would greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.